steal that one.
There you go.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. ProNoobRC, Keith, Jesse, buddy Nick's hanging out tonight. He's going to give us a hand building our SMT10. We do have the Losi LMT Monster Truck. We won it in a draw. I think we're talking about that in one of our other videos. Definitely get on those. They're fun and you win free trucks. You don't have to pay for everything because we pay for everything out of pocket. So free stuff is fun. Those were pushed back until January 8th. And we need a monster truck to build. I only get like a little bit of time off work each year. So we're building this one for now, just to hold us over. We have two other ones already, but they're both Gravedigger based. And we wanted one with a black chassis to build our own. The theme we're gonna go is Blue Thunder. I kind of like the idea of Blue Thunder. I'm a Ford guy. Only problem is, I don't think Blue Thunder was around in 1993 when this body style came out, so we're gonna have, it's imaginary Blue Thunder. So it's a pretty cool body. It's JConcepts. It's got the little visor above the top of the windshield, and it's got the mullet thing that goes on the back. So we're gonna get that all done. I haven't airbrushed Lightning before, but I think I can, so that's why we decided we're gonna go with Blue Thunder. Well, I decided anyways, so poor Jesse just has to follow along and try to now paint damn Lightning. We're going to be running the JConcepts wheels. These are the 2.6 by 3.6. Oh, I guess that's a width. Monster Truck wheels. Which ones are these? Oh, the Tributes. So we're running the Tributes, and we're running the JConcepts Golden Years tires. It kind of fits the late 80s, 90s style of monster truck tire back then. They're really soft, really squishy tire. Ryan from Eliminator RC recommended them. He says he loves them, so we're gonna give it a shot and run those. We found this was 200 bucks to buy the complete Vanquish transmission, which comes with the gear cover, the spur, all the hardened steel gears, the outputs, the bearings, the whole package. It was $199. I'm pretty sure when I was pricing it out, to do the spur gear from Robertson Racing, to do the hardened steel gears, to do the hardened out drives, to do the Vanquish case and the Vanquish cover was more money than it was to buy this. So if you're going to do the build, just buy the Vanquish transmission already ready to go. You can handle whatever power you want to throw at it. We got one of the anti-rock V2 sway bars from Vanquish, and we actually picked up a Reefs one too. This was for another build. We could only get one of these locally at the time. They're on back order, so we're gonna have to mix them up for now. We'll switch them out later on. For the lower trailing arms, because we do want to beat this thing, we are gonna use the Vanquish trailing arms for the Yeti, the Bomber, and the SMT. I believe just the Yeti. Same thing as the SMT though. So 2 pairs of those, and then we got our stage 1 kit. We got black and we got gray. Gray probably go better with this one, and we'll put the black one with King Sling, I think. So yeah, so that's pretty much where we're gonna start. We're waiting on hardened steel gears for the axles, spools for the axles for the axle shafts. You want bigger all the way around. We're unsure which ones we're gonna go with the front. If we're gonna go with the Incision, I think they're XVDs, they're a universal style joint, or we're gonna go with the CVD style from Vanquish. What do they call the VVD, the ones with the red fancy little pin retainer on them. We're not sure. It's a monster truck, so I'm thinking the universal style will be tougher because you're not dealing with that one little pin, right? So we might go with those ones. I got to do a little bit of homework there. Actually, just gonna phone one of my friends that knows a bit more and ask them. It's easy to do that. So we're gonna jump into this box, pour it out, and start building it here for you. Let the camera roll so we can speed it up. Everybody's seen one of these builds. I think Scale Builder Guild just did one live on Friday night, so we'll just build ours real quick because you don't need to see that, and then we're gonna throw the mods into it. We'll slow it down when we get to putting those on, and yeah, get this guy rolling. We are ordering these pieces right here that actually give you a spot for another shock mount up here, so we can run our sway bar up here and then move our shock actually back here. I do want to have the shock on the axle on this truck, Both our other monster trucks have it on the trailing arm, and a real monster truck has it axle to chassis straight up. So this truck will be classic style monster truck, and this is going to be moved to here. So Vanquish makes a part so you can do that and still have a sway bar. That's the important thing, because right now if you do move the shock right here, you got to eliminate the sway bar or find another way to mount it, which wouldn't be too hard. We can get a sway bar in there. So we'll mess with that as we go. Watch a couple other YouTube videos to see what other guys did, because that's what YouTube's for, learning. And yeah, stay tuned. We'll get this guy fired up. Do we need this bag? D-bag! Found it. Found it. We're good. D-bag. D-bag.
What's up, cool cats and kittens? Jesse Keith here, back with a monster truck build. Monster trucks.
Okay, as you've seen in our little montage build there, we got the rig rolling. Yeah, Vanquish arm sitting in the bottom. I put these in backwards. It should have the screw head pointing on the outside, but we can swap those later. Vanquish transmission sitting in there. No motor, no electronics right now. Everything's on back order. We're gonna be waiting a little while for that stuff. But we can set the big squishy tires, get those put together, get them set on, and they're from JConcepts, and they do come with 3 different offsets. You get a 24mm offset that's in there, 16mm I think that says, and 11mm. So you can pick your offset of the wheel as you build them, which is nice. So yeah, right now we have the 25 mil in there. Pretty good, pretty wide. It'll look pretty dope on the back. So we're probably gonna stick with the 25. We might bring it in a little bit, but I'm not too sure. It's nice stance. To be a bit more scale, they will be in a little bit more. But this truck, we are only gonna run 2-wheel steering on it, so we do need to have a lot of room for the tires to turn without hitting the links and such. So there you go. Big old hub on the back. Decent looking rim. Once you get that, throw the planetary cover in there. Looks pretty dope. Whoop. We're just gonna leave these ones black on this truck. We've got a couple other ones that are painted, and they take such a beating. It's so hard to paint, especially down inside there with the brush if you do lines and details and stuff. We did notice that a company that was just pointed out to us today by a friend, RH Designs, makes actually a ring that just clips into these wheels, whatever color you want, 3D printed. So either that, or we might actually just look for the file we can buy and print ourselves on a resin printer. Make it real pretty. Okay, so enough talking about tires and wheels. We'll do that all later. Nobody wants to watch somebody put together sort of stupid wheels. So we still have, we built the truck box stock. We got our Vanquish Stage 1 update kit, or Stage 1 upgrade kit to put into it, which consists of your C-hubs, your knuckles, and your rear lockouts. Right now we've only got the dog bone front axles in it, so there's no point on putting all that stuff into it to take it apart once more to get them. So we're going to wait on axles to come in the front to put those in. And then we also ordered a set of beef tubes so we can stiffen up these axles in this truck instead of going to the full curry axle on it. It's too much for a mud truck, so. Yeah, so tonight Jesse and I are making custom brackets to mount our sway bars, because we want to keep the truck, axle on the shock here. Normally the truck is supposed to be built with the shock here to here, I think, somewhere around there. Yeah, here to here. And our other monster truck is that way. it works for the monster truck, but that's not how you see a monster truck on TV. You know, when you go and see a monster truck, they don't have the shocks on the trailing arms, they're on the axle like they should be. And there's usually a multitude of shocks, 2, 4, something like that. So so we're going to use the Reefs RC. We're going to space these shocks out so we can get the Wreaths Sway Bar to tuck in behind here and then operate in back here. So we might build a bracket that sits below it so we can mount it there, but probably just right through this back mount. We could probably just drill that out and then put maybe a plate through here. We'll play around. That's what we're working on. So we're gonna figure out. And then the front sway bar, we're gonna go with the Vanquish anti-rock. This is the wrong side, but you get the idea. And this guy, we're gonna mount him somewhere like here, and then link him right to here on the top of the axle, actually, right to there. Hopefully that all works out. So yeah, so we gotta build a couple things and do some modifying, make this work. There is options out there of things to buy, but we like to build things in-house, so we're gonna bust these out really quick and get this thing rolling. Okay, so as you can see, Jesse and I got the fitment we're looking for with the back of the body. It was important for us not to hog out this back part of the body. We do want to keep the classic look of the truck, keep the back window, do the trim, put a bunch of, you know, Goodyear tires or something on there. We are going to get rid of these stock zoomy style exhaust. We might for now flip them over and have them dump down so they're not interfering with the body. And if we flip and dump them over, we'll just need to make a small little notch in the body right here so we can have them dumping out and no problem. We're going to order the exclusive RC nice monster truck. Comes forward, a little shorty muffler on the bottom. Looks really good. We're going to pop those on there. Yeah, so the body's pretty much up and mounted. You know, it's a 14-inch wheelbase body. I believe it's a 14 or 13.5-inch wheelbase body, 13.5-inch wheelbase truck. Obviously, you can see the body doesn't line up with the wheelbase on the truck, so... Or maybe this is 12.5. No, I'm pretty sure the bag's at 13.5. I don't know. I haven't seen the bag in a while, though, so... Not too sure. Yeah, so next move from here, we're going to get this cleaned up. There's a couple little areas that we filled in where it's touching the bars. You want to have it on there so it's not touching the bars anyway, just sitting on the body mounts. That way you get no chirping and squeaking. We would like to come forward a little bit more on it, but we're at the limitations of the back window and the back of the roll cage. That is where if you do open up the back window, you can run the cage a little bit farther back. But then to us, it's starting to get away from looking at a truck. I like to have the window and the cage somewhat lined up a little bit, so try to keep it looking trucky. So she's got a real long tail out in the back, and our other body so this body's got 70mm of overhang, almost 3 inches, and our RC 4-wheel drive terrain body has roughly 50 inches, almost 2 inches, almost a full inch, or 50mm, almost a full inch less in the rear. So this body would be easier to get a wheelie bar set up and everything. You need to make it less as long. So now going forward, we're gonna have to make a wheelie bar. We got 3 different bodies. We got King Sling. We've got the backup body from our mega truck, King Sling. He's cut to fit to drop right onto the same chassis. Looks pretty good on there. Actually looks really good. So we got Freddy rolling in King Sling, or we can swap it out to the RC 4-wheel drive terrain body. Still with the zoomies, still looking pretty dope on there. And then we got the JConcepts 1993 F250. That's going to be our Blue Thunder body. Yes, we know Blue Thunder wasn't around back then, but he's going to be. Times are changing, boys. Times are changing. Okay, so yeah, clean that up. Finish cutting it out, figure out this exhaust because that's not going to work. We need to now create our wheelie bar mount. So I got Jesse to bust out a piece of CAD, cardboard assisted design for us. And I'm going to just tag that in place with a something. There, okay. So we've got our piece of cardboard sitting in there nicely. Now I'm going to take a marker and I'm going to trace the cage here, down to here. Get it all nice and pretty. And underneath to here. Now this is where I know the cage ends. I don't want to cut my unit off there. And then, might have to take the battery tray out to get that and trimmed in there, but I can pretty much mark it from the outside and figure it out. Okay, so now we know the wheelie bar has to come back from here to here, 75 millimeter. Oh, let's just not do that in midair. So 75 millimeter, we know that we need to be our absolute at the back. Now I believe that's where the body ends, so we're gonna need to have our notch run through there. So now we need to kind of rough cut this. I'm just gonna cut it like this for now, and like that, because we don't know what we're gonna do in this area, so we want to leave that open. So probably just the best bet would just be to loop this off and then do a roller through the back. We don't need to have a big stupid bar, right? We could just loop that off and have a roller sit down there. And that's enough when the truck comes up. It'll keel up onto there. Let's mock that up into a roller. So we just did that. Another plate, and then we did a nice big wide roller across the back.
That doesn't look like a dink.
Now let's see, the truck comes up. We get a really nice high wheelie. Really nice high, so when you're in freestyle, you can stand that piglet right up and get it up on the rollers. Bring it back down. Yeah. Now we can take that shape and kind of refine it out. Another thing with this is we want to mount our sway bar through this bad boy. So once we get it done and cut out of aluminum, we're going to use a thicker aluminum plate for this. We got a whole bunch out in the shop, so we're going to use something a little bit beefier. So we'll have a mount there, and we're going to have to put a small spacer on the bottom of the tube frame to keep everything running straight on the back of the frame, keep that guy running true. But we might go refine the shape so it doesn't look like a wiener. It's kind of a weird shape to it. I'm sure I'll get comments of them ripping around with that thing hanging out the back. So, right, still good. Gives the truck really nice vertical. Stands it right up. So yeah, we gotta go cut these pieces out of aluminum, and then we're gonna drill them out all fancy, make them look all pretty, sandblast them, because we have all those fancy toys that make them look like they were ordered off the internet. And if you want some, maybe we'll sell you some. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? And then we need to relocate the front sway bars. I lost my piece. There it is. Found it. So our front sway bar, we're running the Reefs in the back because they're nice and straight. We're going to be able to tuck them in behind the rear shock from the rear wheelie bar that we're building. And then our fronts are going to relocate to in and around this area. And we're going to need to build a plate somehow, some way in here. So yeah, we need to build a mount somewhere yonder. There's a flat section right here and right here, these two triangles. But we need to think about compression, and then yeah, that's not gonna work. So we'll probably need to build a plate that mounts from here to here, which are at two different planes. So we'll have to step down, over, and in, and then we can go down below and then have the bar swinging. Just right back there, right back here. So. Hello. Hello. Yeah, right in there. And then we still need to fit our limiting shocks in. Our limiting straps are probably gonna go from here right down to here, or we'll tie them right to the axle at the sway bar. I don't like attaching them to these lower lengths because they twist as they go up and down with the straps when they pull on them. You have to be on either side. You can't mount it directly in the middle. I guess you could, but it's still gonna pull on it funny anyway. So, yeah. So we need to go fab these up. Stay tuned. I'll go get these chopped out and make them look all pretty. We'll get back to mounting and decide how we're gonna get the front in. We'll deal with the rear first. Okay, well, our custom relocation sway bar plates are back. You grab that, hang on. Our custom relocation sway bar plates are back out of our painting room. We just did a matte black, and these guys are gonna fit right in here like this. Boop. We've already pre-drilled it all out for our nice scale Vanquish hardware. It's got the nice little hex head on it, so you don't got the big Allen keys. Try to make that look as nice as possible, and the sway bar mount is gonna go right through there. So get these bolted up, and then we can start changing the fitment on these sway bars and get them mounted. Hoping it's wide enough. We might have to narrow one of them, so start on that. So yeah, this is the scale hardware 256 that you would use when you're doing a Vanquish wheel. Very nice stuff. We just drilled it into the chassis with a 1/16 drill bit, and then we drilled the chassis plate a little bit bigger. So these will glide right through. Mount the plates in. This scale hardware sure adds a lot of detail to your builds. You can use it more than just the wheels, like in this area here. I know it's almost pointless because the rest of the bolts are hex, but it will definitely stand out a little bit. So our Losi LMTs showed up during the middle of this build. We've been bashing the heck out of those. I'm sure if you guys have seen us talking about them and out ripping one around in the snow there. Try to get some more footage up right away of old Sunny Boy. Oh, lost that one. There goes $1. We dropped $1 on the floor. So we also decided we're going to remove these shocks and go with the RC four-wheel drive King shocks. We've had them in the truck now for, well, sorry, they've been sitting in this package on the wall for about a year. I filled them up with oil and bled them out, and a lot of buddies were saying they're having trouble with them and yada yada yada. I took them off and I went to a different shock and put them back in the package. They've been sitting for about a year now and they haven't leaked a drop. I've opened them up the other day and make sure they just didn't all leak out and I might have missed it, but it's all still full. They still feel good. So they're a little bit shorter than these. I think they're 110s and these are 120s, I believe. It says right there 110 in the middle. So that's a 110. Okay, so our sway bar plates are painted and installed. We use a nice Vanquish scale hardware. Pretty hard to see the black on black right in here, there and there. So that's going to relocate our sway bars to the said position right there, right there. So on the front one, we're going to run the Reefs sway bar. I've already got this guy pre-mocked up. I did cut him down a little bit right here. He was a little bit longer. He had the 3 holes in the end of it, probably another ½ inch longer. I chopped it off and drilled another hole pretty much right at the end of the Reefs RC writing there, or just before on this side. And yeah, that's going to give it a little bit more torque, right? Shorter arm, less of a fulcrum point or leverage on the arm here. So, sorry, on the arm here. So that's the way that goes. And yeah, they come, nice little arm. They come with the stainless steel link and the Revo rod ends. So this guy is going to ride up front. And then we went with a Vanquish unit for the rear. It's a little bit fatter, a little bit heavier. I was kind of tossed up back and forth if we're going to run the Vanquish in the front, Vanquish in the rear, whichever one's going to work better. The spacer we're using is 5, 6, 7, 8 millimeter spacer on both sides. Plus we're using one of these, yeah, 1 millimeter, a little bit bigger washer to put behind the spacer there. So we got outside in, fire these ones in. Now the rear, a little bit nicer unit. It's the Vanquish unit on the rear. And the shaft's a little bit thicker, and it's got these nice brass bits that actually, you drill a 9/32 hole through the plate, and then you put the brass in on both sides, and then you feed your shaft through. These are the Curry anti-rock sway bars for the back side. Buck side here. We shortened them too. Also, it had, I think, 2 or 3 holes here. I just brought it a little bit. Where I was mocking these up, I think it was on the front or the rear before. It was clipping the shock. But yeah, so we just made a couple little trims on there so that don't hit the shock no more, and good to go. So these are the V2 sway bars. The V1 sway bars had a smaller set screw, I think, on both sides. I know we have them on a couple of our other trucks, but just wasn't a good scenario. Didn't work too well. They would always back off and come loose. So actually, we're gonna move that to the inside, but you get the idea. So sway bar is pretty much in and done. That one's gonna run to there. Could move them down here, but I do like the little bit more height there of the arm. It sits more, a little bit more level, right? So we might have to put a washer on the rear one just to take out a little bit of the side-to-side slop. You don't want to have too much of that. Keep it nice and tight. What's up next from here? I'm gonna button this all down. I'm gonna put on the other one on this side. Actually get to go find some hardware, hook these links up, and then we can show you, put the tires on it, kind of start twisting and flexing it, kind of show you the advantage. Okay, so we got that nice Casey Curry Vanquish anti-rock sway bar mounted in the rear. Got it sitting nice and level like I like it. That's more just preference and look. Sitting on these King 100mm shocks, or 110s or something like that. Yeah, 110s, remember we went over that earlier. 110 shocks. I'm gonna hook up the front Reefs yet, go find 2 bolts and some hardware, but you can already see how well the rear sway bar is. Pull up on this corner, and that's pulling up the whole rear axle, right? Before it would have just rolled over, probably pushed that side down. So now sway bar flexing, it pulls up the whole rear. So now when you go up into a wheelie in a corner, it's going to keep the truck a boatload more planted. That's just the rear already in it, and she's a lot more planted. So I need to find some hardware, button up these fronts into these mounts, and or into these trailing arms. Should we have this thing sort of tires on it, and start mocking up the body, get the wheels on it. Body's already fitted. We just need to start getting the body painted and done, and we're waiting on our electronics to ship out. Castle Creations, motor, ESC, Reservo, and special radio, of course. Yeah, so stay tuned. We're gonna bang this thing together, go throw some body on it, and we're back. Okay, there we go. Looking pretty darn good as far as I'm concerned. Came out the way we wanted. Sway bar plates are relocated. We got the shocks moved to the outside where we want them. We lowered it with the shocks. It's sitting nice and, you know, pretty flat level down here. It gets the center of gravity low. And then best part is we got the sway bars figured out. Normally you couldn't grab the cage and pick up the tires like that. You can see the heavier one in the rear and the not so much heavier in the front. There's a good example right there. So yeah, now we're going into the corner. It's going to go like that and try to pick up this tire on the rear and try to hold the weight down. I was thinking about going stiffer on the front, but yeah, we might go to a stiffer one on the front now. So who knows? We are still going to a whole bunch of parts coming to finish off the diffs and driveline and the power plant. But for right now, we need to do the paint job on the truck, and we are painting it with the Freddy Krueger theme to match his sweater kind of deal. So I'm going to put this guy off behind us. Let's start on this body. So if we look at Mr. Krueger here, he has, I believe it is 9 stripes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 stripes top to bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I measured them out. They seem to be the green ones seem to be 50mm or 5mm, and the red ones are 8mm. So if I transfer that up in scale, that would give me 50 and 80. If I start with my first 50 at the edge of the front bumper and come back to here, and then go 80, 50, 80, 50, and do my marks all the way down, and then kind of with this, I'll kind of move around a little bit. It doesn't, you know, you don't want it all perfectly. It kind of looks funny that way. So I just want to keep the spacing on. We'll do the marks on one side, and then we'll figure out if we're going to go this way, if we're going to go a couple this way, a little bit like this. Kind of, you know, sweaters are kind of bunched up, and kind of plan that out. The rear, we're going to leave clear. Found a really nice, Jesse found a really nice Freddy Krueger silhouette with his hand and his hat on and stuff. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to bust out this paint job, put up some music, check that out, and go. So there we go. That'll give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pretty close. Okay, there we go. We used the little flexible measuring tape. We kept our lines fairly true. We're doing, like I said, a Freddy Krueger themed paint job with the sweater design on there. So I just need to go and mask this all off. I've got it all marked out: red, green, red, green, red, green. Those are R's and G's if you're wondering what all that crap is. I just scribbled it on there. So yeah, so I'm gonna go start marking that out. The back is gonna remain clear, and then a graphic put in the back separate. And we'll start doing this, and then I'll show you how we're gonna get the sweater looking kind of the cloth material stripes in there. So okay, welcome back to part 742 of the monster truck build that we've been dragging on for many months, but here we are. We've decided on the paint job because this is going to be Frederickson's truck here. We're doing a paint job to match the sweater. So we've taken our Cricut, which is an awesome little tool. I recommend getting one, and cut out all these little Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously a Nightmare on Elm Street for the door side, and then all his 1, 2, 3, 4, Freddy's Coming for You all the way around, 9, 10, Never Sleep Again, all that good stuff. And now we're just going to add in the drywall tape, actually. I was calling it carbon tape. It's actually drywall tape, I think. It's the stuff you put down before you put the mud on or whatever. So we're just covering it. So basically it's sticky, so it acts like a mask. So we're gonna put that on. We're gonna spray it the red color, and then we're gonna go red green all the way down like we've marked it out. And then after we peel this back, we can go through and spray that with a black, and that should give us like a thread, kind of a pattern throughout it. Now to just take this stuff and you just want to cut and lay it along everywhere through and through. You don't want to just go straight across, you kind of want to break it up a little bit. And because it is a horror themed body, the more less perfect you can make it, the better. You want it to kind of look janky and sketchy looking.
Why you do that?
Why go be like that, huh?
Why you gotta go do that? We have covered the inside of the body shell with drywall tape to make it look like a sweater, and put black patches in places to give it a little bit of depth.
So now we just need to mask it out, front half.
Mask it.
First color, green. Little Vanna action right there. So we're gonna go do that, and then work our way from front to back, and be done with it. Next time you see it, it will be painted. Catch you back in a bit. Hey, welcome back. It's part 729, 800, something like that. We're getting up in there, the numbers on this. Yeah, so we got the paint job done. As discussed, we were gonna try to imitate the sweater for something different on his truck. We used drywall tape to give us the grid pattern that you can see in there, and then we masked it off individually. And I did a couple different colors to come up with the darkish red. I want it a little bit lighter, but I still want it dark. We're gonna hit this thing with a flat clear right away once we're done kind of getting all the trim and everything cleaned up. We're going to go over it, mask the windshield off, inside, outside, and back window spray clear, and or flat clear over top. And that will knock it down and pretty much get the color bang on to what we want. So, yeah. So, there's paint job top, front. Put Freddie Sangs in there. 1, 2. Buckle your shoe. Yeah, Nightmare Numbers to the side. We got Freddie on the back. A pretty cool little truck. So, anyway, on some positive note, parts are starting to show up for this guy, so we can quit pissing around with paint job and stuff like that and start putting the power into it. We got the VVD version 1 heavy duties for the AR60 from Vanquish, so we can get those in the front axle, and then we can start throwing on our stage 1 Vanquish upgrade kit. We have another one of those we're going to throw into it so we can bulletproof up all the knuckles. We've already got the Vanquish transmission. I've got the rear axle shafts on order. We got a brushless castle system on order. We got a Savix steering servo we're just going to use. We had it kicking around. It's going to work. My choice is usually Reefs or high-tech. Pretty much Reefs now we're just going to be running. They seem to work great for everything. But we got a Savix kicking around. It's not a crawler, so I don't have to sit there and listen to whine and crawl and scream like a Savix does, so that's not going to be too much of an issue. We do have the wheelie bar that still needs to get mounted and stick out the back. We're going to repurpose some parts from this carpet roll and spiky tool thing. Not all of them, just a couple of them on the roller, on the wheelie bar on the back. So, okay, so we're going to mask this off and we're going to go spray that with flat clear. Okay. Body's done, looking good. We got our Cricut vinyl cutters. We reverse cut all those decals. We painted all that from the inside, so now it's going to peel off. We did the flat clear on the outside, which helped knock down the shine, kind of give it that dull fabric kind of horror movie look we're looking for on it. Once we get it dirty and a few kind of tumbles into it and scratch, it's going to look really good. We threw a couple decals in the back. We got our local hobby shop, Eliminator RC. Of course, our brand underneath, ProNoobRC. And of course, just say no to drugs. And yeah, truck's going to look pretty good with that shell on it. It's going to get tore up. It's going to look good intermittently. That brings us to the end of that one. And the next days, we could actually start throwing the upgrades and all the money into the truck, because we got our axles we're waiting for, so we could throw this kit into it. We got the brushless motor. We went with a Castle Creation slate. I can't remember the KV on it right now. I think it's like 18-ish, somewhere around there, 1810 or 40, or I don't know what it is, something like that. So we got that one to throw into it. We're running the truck on 4S, so she's going to be a powerhouse. We got the Vanquish transmission in there, as you guys remember earlier. Right now, we're just waiting on the MIP drive shafts to throw into it. I got a hardened steel gear sets sitting in one of my toolboxes. Debating on overdriving the front. A lot of guys in the monster trucks are overdriving the front axle, so you get a little bit more steering, a little bit more control, and the back end just kind of follows you around. So, you know, you're getting less push. We might play with that going down, but so far we're going to get it up and running and send it. We'll mess with that stuff in the summertime. We get some traction, but yeah, stay tuned. We're going to throw the rest of the upgrades and the money parts into this piglet and get her out on the trail for the weekend.